Hey, this is AJ Kapoor. I'm the CEO of TouchSource, and this is the latest of the Active Spaces podcast brought to you by TouchSource. Um, to kick it off, I think I'll state the obvious. We're in an interesting time right now. People have described it as the new normal, or hopefully the temporary normal. But today we are in a world in which we're now starting to reopen offices, reopen campuses, reopen retail facilities, and safety, social distancing, and contactless experiences are becoming an important aspect of today's society. We live in a world that has all of these sort of new trends. One, there's an increasingly large need for non-contact experiences as people still struggle to understand all the aspects of the virus itself. Reducing contact with other people or other objects is a way to protect safety. And similarly, as we're starting to understand more, spacing and social distancing from one another, although difficult, becomes a requirement of this environment. We're also learning that people are in very different spaces in this environment. Some are feeling very confident and they're going and shopping with their masks and their gloves, and others are very worried and staying within their home environment and only infrequently venturing outside. So we need to meet people where they are because people are at very different levels of the experience here. The other thing that I think is really interesting is the speed at which not only the virus changed our lives, but in which information changed our experience. It's faster than I've ever seen. So agility and the ability to share information, consume information, respond to information is more important than it's ever been. And that's creating a dynamic where operations and operational structures are changing daily. But underlying all this, I think what we've all learned is empathy for our colleagues, empathy for our providers, empathy for our neighbors really matters, and that needs to show not just in people, but in technology as well. So at TouchSource, we've taken a step back and looked at the way we've look at the world. And we look at it in three overlapping quadrants. One is the IoT space, machine-to-machine communications that enable devices to communicate with each other, to share information, to drive new operational norms. And we combine it with property tech or CRE tech, which is the set of data that gets generated in properties or the new technologies being deployed at it. And we meet those in the middle with our core expertise of digital signage and digital directories. And through all of these, I think there's an opportunity to take the intersection of all three of these and create better solutions and longer-term solutions for this contactless social distance world. So we're excited to bring to the world 10 new solutions. I'll go into depth on a few of these, but to give you a feel, we're introducing touchless interactive solutions to better support the interactivity that people need in digital and directory solutions and wayfinding without the touch experience. And a variety of different public safety and mandatory messaging solutions that seamlessly move content to people's mobile forms or do always-on public safety messaging. We're recognizing that space is changing and people need to establish their 6-foot radius. So space management solutions and being able to reserve and adapt to those types of things. To be able to measure this stuff with density awareness solution and using robust camera analytics that were previously much more common in retail environments are now being used to understand how people are congregating in public spaces. Then we take it to the visitor space. We all love the ability to have visitor experiences, but we're not allowed to be that close to people. So how do you do that virtually and contactless? Adding the security aspect. We can't all be in buildings, so how do we do the remote monitoring and live monitoring? And then some very industry-specific things in the production or factory space, being able to do shift management to show that who your supervisor or your quality manager is that there is that day, because not everyone is there that day, as well as interactive marketing in the more retail environments in which you're not necessarily going to have a salesperson in front of a client, and how do you still create that selling experience. The four that I'm going to go a little bit deeper on are, first, the mobile directory and mobile wayfinding experience. So we recognize that directories, wayfinding, turn-by-turn direction, things like that are still important, but people aren't going to push that button. So scanning and then critically moving that interactivity to the mobile device without a compromise in functionality enables the user to continue their search for information on their device in a contactless experience. You add the digital and mobile health messaging, which could change the paradigm to where people are asked or requested to scan before entering to get new safety information to their mobile phones that could be updated on a daily basis and track the acknowledgement of that data, brings that same capability of interactive, dynamic content, mobile-friendly solutions that start at large digital signage and work to the mobile devices. In addition, we saw trends happening years ago with co-working spaces and open floor plans in which people needed to reserve different spaces dynamically. And we're thinking more in conference rooms and stuff like that. But now in an open floor plan, when you have 6 or 7 people that would be in your 6-foot radius, only 1, maybe 2 people can reserve that space. So taking those concepts from conference room and shared space reservations and applying them to open floor plans and creating zones that people can social distance, and then displaying them with either small signage or large signage enables that social distance workforce to start returning to the office. Finally, we all love being in the lobby meeting visitors, meeting guests, but we can't all be there now because of density restrictions, social distancing restrictions, and the ability to stretch resources across multiple buildings. We need to be contactless and virtual visitor management solutions. So providing the ability for people to connect, to get help, to do things like that without having to come in contact with the people are the sets of solutions we're bringing to market. So these 4 are just a subset of the 10 that we're bringing to market now, but we're really excited about them. As you think about these types of solutions and other things, we'd love to collaborate with you on the next step. The one thing, regardless of how you pursue, we want you to remember that agility, not rigidity, is going to really be important, just not now, but well into the future. And then the second is the dialogue between partners, vendors, suppliers, technology companies, and the innovation coming from it needs to be consistent and persistent. We need to keep on having that dialogue together so we can help you craft the right solutions for your space. So let's set up a time to talk about it. Talk to our team, and we're constantly sharing what our largest clients are doing and the innovations we're coming up with. We'll have more announcements coming here in future weeks as we are going to provide more and more ways for the U.S. to reopen and reopen in a safe way. So set up time with our team, and we look forward to speaking with you in the near future. Thank you.